What's going on YouTube? My name is ginj-tcg or Chris, and today I'm back with a crazy rogue deck video. I think I finally found a perfect partner for Steven's Metagross EX, a 340 HP menace with an amazing ability X-Boot where you can search your deck for a basic Metal and Psychic Energy and attach them to your Metal and Psychic Pokemon in any way you like. And I know a lot of people have been pairing this with Lillie's Clefairy because it's a natural combo, it's a good Psychic Pokemon, it gives you a great counter into Dragapult as well as Raging Bull, and I think that those matchups are definitely pretty solid, and I think that's an amazing combo for it. But I think against decks like Grimmsnarl, Gardevoir, it's always kind of struggled because, you know, they can take down the Metagross pretty consistently. You don't necessarily have the boss KO on Gardevoir. You don't have great single prize attackers, and that's why I've decided to combo it with one of the channel favorite partners and one of my favorite Pokemon, the single prize Scizor. With the Punishing Scissors attack, you do 50 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon with that ability in play. So this Scizor ramps up damage insanely quickly, especially against decks like Marnie's Grimmsnarl, where there's just a bunch of ability Pokemon down. They got like a couple Munkidori, a couple Frostlass, a couple Grimmsnarl. I mean, everything in that deck just has red text, which Scizor loves to see. Also against decks like Goldengo, you know, Scizor is a great single press attacker that can swing pretty hard. And to take off some of the pressure from Lillie's Clefairy and some of the basic EX decks like Raging Bolt, we're playing one copy of Scizor EX with the Crossbreaker attack. You can accelerate 2 Metal Energy to it and then discard them both and do 240 damage. And I know we're playing like Psychic Energy, and that's where things could get a little weird, so we kind of do need like a manual attach onto Scizor and then X-Boot to attach that second one, and then we could put that Psychic Energy somewhere else like a Clefairy or on something like Metagross, which does have 2 colorless in its attack cost. I think there's decent synergy here. I think maybe, like, you could, because we're playing the Scizor and we're kind of leaning into this guy a little bit more into certain matchups, I could see an argument for maybe, like, 6 Metal Energy for Psychic Energy, but I think for now, like, this is totally fine, and that's also why we're playing 2 Rod in the deck, where we're comfortable discarding energy in this type of deck. You know, we can accelerate them pretty consistently, and there's no reason why we can't use multiple X-Boots a turn, so if we don't have the Metal Energy manual attachment, as long as we have 2 Metal Energy in the deck, we can still set up this the Scizor EX, excuse me. And this card, I think, helps a ton against decks like Jolting Box, against decks like Ethan's Ho-Oh. A lot of those decks do not have as many Dragon Pokemon, so Lillie's Clefairy isn't as optimal. Although Metagross does have the Max Belt to swing for 250 damage, which can take out those basic EXs. Sometimes it's just not as easy to set up. So now by adding Scizor, we take out some of the insane energy pressure, because this is also just an easy manual attach, so we can use those X-Boots to set up our own Metagross or Clefairy in the back end, as well as set up the Scizor EX. So, you know, I really like the Scizor combo. I think it's got great synergy. On top of these, we're playing the Fezandipiti and Mew, which are both good draw power, but specifically in Mew, if we're up against Dragapult EX and we have Clefairy in play, we can use Mew to copy their Phantom Dive, swing for 400 damage, still spread damage counters. It works out pretty nicely. But then we're also playing one copy of the Genesect, because, you know what, it's a metal attacker. If we absolutely have to go Magnetic Blast for 100 damage, we can, but more importantly, this deck kind of does have a little bit of bench space to play with in certain matchups. So, you know, if we're up against Marnie's Grimmsnarl and we're leaning a little bit more into Scizor than Metagross, you know, maybe we only need 1 Metagross in play. We could put down the Genesect to shut down their Secret Box in the mid game, or I guess the earlier the better, just because, you know, they tend to play early. But, you know, if they haven't played it and you're getting into the late game, they're kind of saving it for, like, you know, to get them out of a tough spot. I mean, Genesect is always a great Pokemon and just kind of bench out of nowhere if your opponent hasn't abused their A-Spec in the first turn, or you put it down in your first turn. But I think this deck, since we are playing Metagross, I do like having the TM Evo in the build, and generally when we're using our Nest Balls and Buddy-Buddy Poffins, is to get things down like Beldum, Scyther, and maybe a Clefairy, a Mew, or a Fez, just to make sure our bench is set up nicely and we could see it use TM Evo to evolve into our Metangs or our Scissors, whatever we kind of need. We're playing an insanely high supporter count in this deck. I'm really not trying to brick. I've just played a couple decks in the past couple weeks where it's like, you know what, I kind of want to just go pure consistency. We play off the board pretty well, but just to make sure we're kind of getting there supporter-wise, I'm playing 4 copies of Arven, as well as 3 Iono and 3 Research, just to make sure that we're cycling into whatever cards, a new hand, giving our opponent a smaller hand whenever we kind of need. I am playing 2 copies of Boss's Orders, as well as 2 Counter Catcher, just to make sure that I'm gusting up Pokemon and taking 2 prize cards every single turn if possible. If not, I'm trading 1 for 1 prize card on crucial Pokemon like a Munkidori or a Frostlass or something like that with Scizor. We've got three Buddy-Buddy Poffins. This is what it looks like. 3 Nest Ball and 3 Ultra Ball, just to make sure that we're digging out our Pokemon, as well as 2 Rods, which I mentioned, since we're playing a little bit more research than I generally like to in a lot of my decks, because we're playing a crazy high supporter count, and we could discard a lot of energy. I'm not going the 1 Rod, 1 Night Stretcher. I'm just going to double down on the Rod. I think we've got a lot of good draw out of our supporters, a lot of good search out of our Arven, and a lot of energy acceleration out of Metagross, where I think 2 Rod is pretty comfortable. I don't think we necessarily need a Night Stretcher in this deck. I'm going to say that now. I'm going to regret it in like the second match or third match or something crazy, but for now I am rocking 2 Rod. And then I've got 1 Candy, so if we need to go hyper aggressive into the Metagross, it's definitely possible with a good Arven play or just a bit of luck in the draws. We've got 1 Earthen Vessel just to dig out energy, so we've got good manual attachments. We've got 1 Rescue Board, 1 Max Belt, 1 TMevo, and more importantly, 1 Lillie's Pearl, which is awesome to make Lillie's Clefairy another single prize Pokemon. Now, if we can't get this down on Lillie's Clefairy in time, that's fine, because it's not necessarily a wasted tool, because it could also go down on Genesect, which doesn't necessarily need Rescue Board. The tool does not have to have any good effect for Genesect. It just needs to be attached to Genesect. So you know what? If we're not using Lillie's Clefairy in a certain matchup, and we do have the Genesect down, the Lillie's Pearl is not wasted, because we could put the Rescue Board and Max Belt on other Pokemon. Like, we could put the Rescue Board on Fez, we could keep the Max Belt for a Scizor or Metagross, because that almost never goes on Genesect unless you are in the world's worst situation. But in general, Lillie's Pearl is also fine to be thrown down here, depending on what the matchup is. Now, for 2 stadiums, I'm just rocking a couple copies of Artazon. Again, I want to play with the most consistent version of this deck that I could possibly build. I think this deck honestly has room to go with some good, like, interesting stadiums that don't necessarily help with consistency, like Full Metal Lab to beef up the HP or the damage needed to one-shot Metagross and Scizor and Pokemon like that. I think that's kind of an awesome combo, but I kind of want to just make sure I'm setting up and playing consistently, playing well across these 3 matches. So I'm going with 2 copies of Artazon, but I definitely think stuff like Town Store, Full Metal Lab, even, I don't remember the Stevens Stadium, but I know that stadium does reduce some damage from Stevens Pokemon. It's just not great for Scizor and stuff like that. But that could be totally a valid stadium as well. I think there's a lot of combos. You could even make the argument for something like Team Rocket's Watchtower and just go a little bit more disruption onto like the Knocked Owl type builds. I think that's an awesome combo as well. But for now, again, just want to make sure we're playing the game as best we can. So I'm going to go rock with the 2 Artazon. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the deck list. 2 things real quick before we hop into the video. 1 is go check out the Draw Pass TCG channel, the home of the Battle VIP podcast, as well as a bunch of series created by different members of the competitive Draw Pass TCG team, including myself. My next Evolve Your Game short should be going out probably 2-ish days. I forgot the exact timing of the upload schedule. 2-3 days after this video is live for y'all. So definitely go check out that short, as well as some of the other super popular short series like the Haters Guides from Chef Husky. And while you're clicking on other things, you might as well click that TCG Player link down below, because I know you guys are going to TCG Player to order a bunch of singles, decks, and deck accessories. So you might as well click on TCG Player's link. With mine specifically in the description, clicking on my link and ordering stuff within 48 hours supports the channel in such a massive way. So thank you so much to everyone who's been doing that. And with all that finally being thrown out of the way, let's hop into today's video and see how well Stevens Metagross can do. Welcome to match number 1. I took a mulligan, my opponent took a mulligan, and we're up against Cerulege EX, which I mean doesn't feel like a great matchup out of the jump. Our hand also isn't amazing. They're taking another mulligan, thank gosh. I'm gonna need a little bit of extra help here. I mean, we can try to make it through. It's really going to depend how many ability Pokemon down. I think this is going to be a great matchup for Scizor to get some good chip damage. If we could get the Lillie's, Lillie's Clefairy with Lillie's Pearl, we've got a good single prize attacker. I think that helps out a good bit. We're going second, which also helps if my opponent doesn't necessarily get Brilliant Blender down immediately. If I could just draw into a supporter, that could help me get a tool. I mean, I think we could get great value out of Genesect. It really does limit how many fire energy, or just energy in general, my opponent could get in the discard pile quickly. And I mean, that always is kind of nice, because if we could stop them from one-shotting a Pokemon like Stevens Metagross with weakness, that would be preferred, but it's not going to be very hard, because again, they're going to be swinging for weakness. So I think in general, like, the matchup doesn't feel great. But right now, like, immediately looking at the start, we're already staring down with 3 potential ability Pokemon. We got Fez, Squawk, and then the Reverum, which they will evolve into, which is going to be their draw engine. That means Scizor is already swinging for 160 damage, which isn't perfect, but we can work with that. Ideally, in this matchup, what we're going to do, we're going to take out 1 Cerulege EX, and then we're going to chase down Squawk and Fez. Fez to go 2-4-6 against this deck. It's going to be difficult. I think it's possible. You know, I think we can do it. I think to make it easier on ourselves, we're probably going to want to go in with Metagross against Squawk. If possible, we get a Fezandipiti, which actually helps a ton here too. I definitely do not mind playing the Artazon. I just want to make sure we're getting the Pokemon needed to play. I think here I do really want to take down a Scyther because the next turn is most like they're most likely going to pull off the Ceruledge EX. I want to make sure I've got this guy down and ready to rumble. I'm going to Artazon as well just to get myself down another Beldum. I really don't feel the need to play Genesect yet. I don't have a tool that's going to help it a ton. I think we're kind of fine here. And I think in all honesty, I really don't mind, excuse me, an energy attached to Beldum. Now we do have 2 Boss's Orders and 2 Counter Catchers in this deck. And to make it a little bit more annoying for my opponent, I think I actually do like the boss play on the Fezandipiti. Reason being, I'm going to hope they don't have a perfect switch out, and their manual attachment now has to go to Fez, and now can't go to Charcadet. So if they don't have a Rescue Board or a switch, it's going to be a huge play, and might allow us to take an earlier KO on Fez, depending on what we could draw into. And if we don't, I mean, that's okay too. We've still got 3 different gusting cards in our deck to bring us up Fez and Squawkabilly later, and I'd imagine at some point in this game, because of the weakness, like, I'm gonna be falling behind. So I really don't mind, you know, losing the Boss's Orders, knowing I've got the Counter Catchers. Did I check if they're in the deck? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is match 1 of the video. We are doing no prize checking, or no insane prize checking yet. We're kind of just going off vibes, seeing if we could pull off our combos, and there is the 3rd ability Pokemon, meaning Scizor is swinging for great 2-shot damage. If they do pull off this KO, that'd be fine as well, because we also get access to Fezandipiti. If they don't, we're kind of sitting with a little bit of a dead hand, but I can Artazon to get down another. We'd probably go a second Scyther instead of a 3rd Beldum. I think in a matchup like this, we really only need 1 Metagross. And we could just rock with that. And they're going to Ultra Ball away PAL Pad and a Dark Energy for a Ceruledge EX. That doesn't necessarily mean that they've got the switch in hand to then just go for the KO with Ceruledge. They're going to use Rumbling Engine, discard that Luminous Energy, draw 5 cards. And again, they need a Rescue Board, they need a switch so that they can save their manual attachment for Ceruledge. If they don't do that, they might either be leaving Fez in the active, or maybe they go back into Squawkabilly and go Motivate, just set up some extra energy. They're going to dig out a couple more Fire Energy here, though, and we'll see where their attachments fall. I don't know how many switch this deck plays. I don't know if they play any, so that's why I kind of like this boss play. It just bought me a little bit more time, dig 1 card deeper into my deck. There's the attachment there. Again, no Rescue Board, no switch. We're chilling. If you don't play a Beach Court either, which I really don't think Ceruledge plays, we shouldn't worry too much here. And yeah, they just pass for turn. So next turn they'll attach retreat. They'll definitely get going pretty nicely. Not much I could do about that. I think for now we go Buddy-Buddy Poffin, take out the rest of the basic Pokemon we can off of it. And I mean, I really don't hate an Artazon here just to take out a Genesect. I mean, that is a bench space that I really don't need to use. And you know what? Since I don't have a tool, I don't even think I do it. I think I just save the space, right? Do we have Rare Candy in the deck? We got 2 catchers, and we got our boss suite. And then, what am I looking for? Max Belt's not in the deck. That's definitely not ideal. And we prize 2 Metal Energy. Rare Candy, that's what I'm looking for. Which is also prized. Oh, okay, perfect. Well, I feel pretty cooked, but I mean, hey. We'll figure it out. For now, let's throw this Psychic Energy on Beldum. Feels pretty good. And then we'll pass it on over to my opponent there. Now they're playing Ceruledge. They probably don't play Iono or Judge or anything insanely hand disruptive, at least not this early in the game. I wouldn't be shocked if we're just trying to dig a little deeper, get a few more energy in the discard pile just to make sure they're comfortably one-shotting my Metagross. Right now they've got 8 energy. Will be 9 energy in the discard pile, which means that that's 180, 210. Oh, no, never mind. They absolutely blew up Steven's Metagross already. I don't think a boss's orders is going to do much for them. We kind of have the same board state anywhere, no matter where you put it. I guess they could take up. I feel like the Beldum looks the most ideal because it has the energy, but I feel like the Scyther would actually be best for my opponent. Instead, they're just going to KO my active, take 1 prize card. Again, which is fine. We can make this work. We're going to throw Scyther up in the active right now. Now we have access to Fezandipiti 2. We get another Psychic Energy out of the top deck. That's insane. That's all I'm going to be drawing right now. And we get TM Evo Countercatcher. And, you know, actually this isn't bad. This isn't bad. We can throw TM Evo here. Because you know what, worst comes to worst, I'm going to be needing that at some point. I think I like the counter catcher play. Try to take 2 prize cards quickly or against a Squawk, because we can deal with this now. I can always go Scizor EX plus Max Belt when I inevitably get out of the prize cards to deal with Ceruledge in a little bit. So I do like this play. I don't mind the Rod. Actually, I don't even think I Rod here. I don't need another Beldum in the deck. I think all I really need to do is just research. I could get the Genesect out with Artazon, but I had no guarantee I was going to get a tool, which I didn't, so this feels fine now. I think what I definitely want to do is Ultra Ball away. I mean, I need to evolve into Metang. That is a absolute must. I have to get Scizor out, so I have to throw this down. And I think I do Ultra Ball away, Vessel, Psychic Energy. We can Rod these back later as long as we've got one more Rod in our deck, which we do. Okay, so that Rod is going to make or break this game for sure. For now, though, we'll go Punishing Scissors, 160 damage. We'll take 2 prize cards. The Metal Energy is going to be big. I need to get these Metal Energy out of the deck. We've only got 2 more in the deck. I believe I prized 2 of them because I'm playing the 5-5 split. And we get the Nest Ball and the Psychic Energy. It's not going to help in an insane amount right now. However, that does thin the hand. We could Nest Ball for MEW EX, which doesn't feel awful. It's a good free retreat pivot. I think, though, more likely than not, this is just going to kind of be a turn where I need to go I mean, I could go in with our other side single prize Scizor. We could just work to 2-shot the Ceruledge. We are up 1 prize card, which is huge. My opponent is going to take a single prize KO unless they've got boss KO on Fezandipiti. I mean, if that's the case, it doesn't feel great, but it's not the end of the world. I'll keep my Scizor. I'll still swing for 110 damage, which isn't perfect, but does fix the math for me a little bit later with different 2 prize Pokemon. And Iono here could be pretty devastating for my opponent too if they do overexert their energy and put too many energy in the discard pile, which could be kind of nice. So I don't really mind an Iono swing if we need to. Right now they flip the script into 9 cards. So they've got anything they need. And there's the Brilliant Blender. So now Genesect is useless. Again, I know someone's probably screaming at me like, oh, but I could have taken Genesect down. I know, but I would have had no tools for it. So, like, does it really matter? I don't think so. I mean, with Max Belt Prize, this matchup just becomes so much harder, especially because we know they don't have an insane amount of abilities in play. I feel like this was legitimately the worst first match we could have seen. I was really hoping we'd get the Max Belt out of the prize cards so that I actually did have an out to one-shot the Ceruledge, but I don't think I do. And they go Counter Catcher on the Fez. Okay, that's not great, but you know what? I keep my Scizor. I could still go to 2-shot this Pokemon. This is fine. This is fine. So we'll throw Scizor up again, because I think we always attack with this guy. They've got enough energy in the discard pile. They're going to be blowing up a Metagross whenever they want. We get Counter Catcher, which actually does help a little bit too. I don't think right now, though. I think right now I do like the manual attachment to the Metang. And how do we do this? I don't want to evolve into Metagross. There's like an 150,000% chance they do have boss's orders. Do I Nest Ball for anyone? I don't think so. I really don't want to put a 2 prize Pokemon in play unless I absolutely have to and I'm getting value out of it. I feel like right now they're just kind of all liabilities. I think I actually don't mind the research here. I think that just feels a little more comfortable for us. This is sweet. I could rock with this. We have a great hand actually for next turn, which is pretty cool. I've got a Rod, Metagross, single prize Scizor, Buddy-Buddy Poffin. Doesn't really get me much, which is fine. I think I actually do just want to sit on this hand. I really don't think there's anything I need to play here. I kind of just like punishing Scissors for 110 isn't great, but it does fix the math. So if I could Iono into Scizor EX, I could actually pull that off next turn. I think pretty well with a Metagross. I don't know, but then there would be 2 prize Pokemon in the active. I mean, I would just have to hope Iono kind of destroys them here. And they go Jamming Tower, that's fine. Yeah, this one don't feel great for sure, especially based on what's prized. I mean, that definitely did not help us any. But I think our best out is legitimately to go in with, I mean, I could go in with single prize Scizor again, but we don't get there. We're still an ability short. They have 160 HP left. There's a 0% chance my opponent puts a ability Pokemon in play. Yep, they just go Abyssal Flames for more than enough damage to blow up anything in my deck, which means, you know, I could go in with Lillie's Clefairy if I could dig out Lillie's Pearl. That is a 1 prize Pokemon that could effectively one-shot. You know what? I think that's exactly what we do, right? 20 for each benched Pokemon. I could totally max that out. We're gonna rock with this. We need to bring back the Psychic Energy and maybe the Fez. We need, or excuse me, the Metal Energy. I think here we want to retreat for sure, go in with Lillie's Clefairy, throw the Pearl on the active, so it's still effectively a single prize Pokemon. And now if they get boss's orders after we Iono, I mean, so be it. Doesn't feel great. Not much we could really do about it. For now, I think we just rod back. What would I need, potentially? Potentially Fez. Definitely. I mean, we did lose a Metagross, but I think I kind of just like taking back the energy here. I think that's fine, and we just kind of rock with what we got in the deck. I don't think I could Buddy-Buddy Poffin any more Pokemon out, which is kind of a shame. I do need to bump the stadium, but we do have one more copy of Artazon. I'm putting my heart and soul onto banking I could pull off that Artazon. But hey, that's fine if we don't get it. I mean, we're definitely giving it the best go we got. And now we drop the Iono. We go to 4 cards. My opponent goes to 2 cards. I should be at KO damage. We don't get the Artazon bump. Oh my gosh, okay. Alright. I mean, I still got a little more draw power. I got the Mew EX. There's already a 2-prize Pokemon in play that they have no problem one-shotting. Do I Ultra Ball here and lose out on another Metal Energy? That would be the last Metal Energy. I would have 1 left in my deck, but if we take a KO, I do get a couple more Metal Energy out of the prize cards, because we know we prize 2. And I think, you know what, right now the value is on drawing the most amount of cards we can. We're definitely swinging for enough damage. I'm gonna put my heart and soul into this. We're gonna go in with Fezandipiti. I need to get the stadium bump. That's, I think, absolutely priority number 1. We're going to restart for 3, and we get it off the first try. All right, that's fine. I mean, while we're here, though, I 100% will flip the script for another 3, and just so what we can get. Now we're starting to load up on supporters. We've got an Ultra Ball in hand, which helps a lot. We're going to Full Moon Rondo for 220 damage. We've got a single prize Pokemon in the active spot. My opponent does have access to flip the script. They probably will have access to Rumbling Engine. That's fine. They just need a boss's orders, and there's our Max Belt and our Rare Candy. 2 of the best one-ofs in this deck, for sure. I mean, it's a pretty bad spot to be in, but I think we put in a good enough effort where I'm pretty proud of how far we made it against this deck, and that's sometimes the best you could do. I think if our prize cards were a little bit different, we could have had a bit of a different scenario, but I don't think, you know, we can complain too much with what's happened so far, which actually also means that the last 2 prize cards are Metal Energy, so I have no idea how I am going to take out that Fezandipiti. Man. I mean, I'm going to have to go Lillie's Clefairy again, but I can't rod it back because we're down both rods, so that actually is not an option. Oh my gosh, yeah, I've got no clue how we do this from here. They got a Cerulege EX in the active spot. We've made it so far, yet I feel like there's absolutely nothing that we got going for us here. They got the Ultra Ball. I mean, I could go in with Mew EX. It's a free retreat pivot. I could set up the Mew EX. I think we do have enough energy left in the deck to do that. But I don't think we have enough energy in the discard pile to copy their attack for KO. Oh no, actually we could copy Raging Amethyst. So you know what? If all they're doing is copying Clefairy, we actually could pull this off with Mew EX. The genome hacking, it might be the first time ever someone copies Raging Amethyst, but hey, you know what? 280 does KO them. That would be an insane way to close out the game. I just don't know if I have enough energy in the deck to pull that off, especially with our Vessel gone. We definitely could dig through our entire deck. Between top deck, X-Boot, Research, we've got our entire deck searched out pretty comfortably. Actually, you know what we could do too? We do have 1 Metal Energy left in the deck. Oh my god, they just promote for room. Ooh, and there's our Metal Energy. That's not good. That is not good at all. Can we dig out anything that would help us? I mean, if I could get boss's orders, we should have 1 boss's orders left in the deck, right? Yeah, we do. I think we throw the Max Belt down here on this Metagross, because now this could KO Fezandipiti, which is pretty big. I don't think I could get my hand small enough to go in for a restart. But I can, however, check what's in the deck. I mean, at this point, I think we just take out the Scyther Scizor. It doesn't matter, actually, at all. Just take out a Pokemon. We do have boss's orders in the deck, but we have no more energy. 0 energy. Okay, well that's just great, isn't it? Ooh, okay, so we attach this here. Throw this down here. I mean, the only way to thin my hand farther and go for a restart is to play a supporter. If I play research, I lose because I got nothing great in my hand. I already played a supporter, excuse me. Nothing great past that. I mean, I guess I could go Arven just to thin it out, because I feel like we just need to dig for boss's orders as soon as possible. We'll take the Rescue Board Buddy-Buddy Poffin. Or maybe I should end up taking the Buddy-Buddy Poffin, but I like the Rescue Board. We could throw that here. And I think then, you know what, the deck's as thin as possible. We could Full Moon Rondo, but that does give him access to Fezandipiti, and I don't think we really need that here. I think we're kind of just good off that. Because that gives them access to more draw power. They've got 13 energy left in the deck. Yeah, I don't think we KO here. We don't get anything from taking a KO. We get a prize card. But that doesn't help, because it's not enough energy to set up Mew EX to go for the KO with Raging Amethyst. I think we just have to pass and draw into boss's orders before my opponent can also draw into energy boss's orders. I feel like if I give them access to flip the script, they draw through their entire deck, and I guarantee my loss. I think here this is our most comfortable position. There is a 20% chance that we draw the card we need. They got Rumbling Engine, yeah, and if I gave them access to flip the script, they would draw into the last 2 cards in their deck. However, I feel like they kind of just got it since they're going for the retreat play and not just sitting another turn, so definitely seems a bit unfortunate. And they Abyssal Flames. Wait a second, because now I have access to flip the script. This is huge. They just take 1 prize card. And if I get boss, I got Metagross KO on Fez. Can we make it out of this? Can we make it out of this? What do I top deck? Please just be boss and take out the pressure. Every time, dude. Every time. We do not worry at all. We throw Metagross up in the active. We go boss. Bring me the Fez. We're going Metal Stomp for 250. Wrapping it up against Cerulege. That was too close. That was when there's our Metal Energy. That was way too close. We had way too many things prized, but I mean, hey, dude, we're taking it down. Like this is such a solid combo. I am obsessed with this. Regardless, we're up 1-0. Let's hop into match number 2. See if we can clutch up the positive record with the new combo for Steven's Metagross. Welcome to match number 2. I was like, this isn't an ideal start. We're up against Raging Ball EX based on their sleeves, but then no, we see the Natu and the Flittle. So this is actually an Espathra deck, which, I mean, that doesn't feel great, because that just extra energy is annoying. However, it doesn't feel like the world's worst thing, especially with the hand like this. But I was going to say, because they do have a lot of abilities in play, we do have a good energy acceleration engine. We just have to be very, very careful with where the energy goes down. For now, we're definitely going to go Buddy-Buddy Poffin. And, I mean, we prized Lillie's Pearl. I also did take a mulligan, which I think I forgot to say. But we did prize Lillie's Pearl. I'm going to go Buddy-Buddy Poffin here. I like the Rescue Board. Honestly, might be the card we get rid of. I think for now I just want to go, even double Beldum doesn't feel bad, but I do like the Scyther a lot just to go in with Scizor. I think Scizor, again, is going to be insanely strong in this matchup, and I think for now we can Vessel away. I think it has to be a Metagross. We don't ever need more than 2. Did I check if the other one was even in the prize cards? No. And it's not. Okay, thank gosh. We'll attach the Psychic to Clefairy. If they do take a KO, they take a KO. But if they don't, now Clefairy has the energy absolutely needed to attack, so I think that's strong. I don't want to play the Artazon because my opponent kind of had a slower opening hand, and I don't want to give him access to more if I don't have to. I think I'd rather just get the Metang down. And actually, you know what? Is Genesect in the deck? Genesect is in the deck. Okay, maybe there was actually a viable play where I go Artazon for Genesect, attach the board to it. I think where my brain was at, was I wanted to keep the Rescue Board so I could attach that to Clefairy next turn in case I want to go in with a manual attach on Scizor, take a KO that way. We'll see if my opponent does use their A-Spec this turn. If they don't, we're definitely not going to waste any time with Genesect coming down the following turn, but I think I definitely had a missed opportunity, so if I get punished and my opponent plays their A-Spec insanely early, so be it. I'm hoping this is a Secret Box build, and that Arven tells me that they either don't need Secret Box or don't have Secret Box yet, and that's fine. Maybe it's like, you know what, we're not getting enough value out of the box, I kind of want to save it for a little bit later, and it's totally okay by me, excuse me. Because we need to get a little bit more active, and they're just going to go for the TM Evo play, set up some abilities, which means, you know what, a retreat into Scizor does feel pretty good, but also a manual attach onto Clefairy to take a KO also feels pretty good. So we'll see what my opponent's got. I mean, I don't think, depending on how many energy they get down, they could take a KO with the Spathra, but as of right now, they're not doing anything too crazy. The Rigid Band is annoying, though, let me tell you. And we get a Mew EX, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I feel like, you know what, their board's established enough. Now we definitely do not mind the Artazon. We're only swinging for 110 with Scizor, which isn't awesome. But it's not bad. And you know what? I think retreating 1 energy is okay. I think I like the single prize Pokemon that my opponent hopefully cannot one-shot. It feels a bit better. I don't think this is a Mew EX match. I am gonna research this guy away. If I absolutely need to bring it back with a Rod, so be it. It's actually about the only playable card I got in my hand on top of the Metagross, but I don't want to use Metagross yet. I don't want to accelerate energy if I don't need to, because that could be wasted very quickly in this matchup. And a Spathra, if you don't know what it does, it's got an annoying ability where your opponent's active Pokemon needs an extra colorless energy to attack. Or something, like some variant of that text, yeah. As long as Pokemon in the active spot attacks used by your opponent's active Pokemon cost a colorless more, yeah. So we got to be very, very careful with where our energy falls, which is fine. We've got a great energy acceleration engine that we can attach kind of anywhere we like, which helps out a ton. I just want to make sure that when we're attaching energy, it's in very purposeful places. I know I could like predict, oh, but Scizor might need it, but they also might go boss on Metagross, in which case I might not want that energy there. So I'm just gonna kind of hold off. And the nice thing about a Spathra too, it's a grass attacker. The cool thing about metal Pokemon, they resist grass. They're gonna go Pokemon League headquarters, which does affect Lillie's Clefairy, but not my Scizor or Metagross. So I think, you know, we still got options to try to pull off a good 2-shot there. My opponent's gonna swing for 90 damage. And we're gonna get another Scizor out of the top deck. I think here, we did not get a boss's orders. I am going to have to go X-Boot. I'm going to have to start setting up another Scyther, as well as an extra energy for this Scizor to attack. It's only doing 110, but that is great damage for set-up KOs. So I definitely like the Buddy-Buddy Poffin and the Max Belt here. And I think, you know what, if they go Iono like they go Iono in a situation like this, so be it. I will definitely take down another Beldum. I like the Beldum. We got Arven for Rare Candy. Double Metagross feels very, very powerful in this deck. I don't want to play the Max Belt too early. However, I do want to go X-Boot. And I want to take out the Metal Energy and a Psychic Energy. It seems we got a lot of energy this match, which is good. I'm going to put the Psychic Energy on my active because that will count as the colorless. And I guess Scyther is not evolved in the Scizor, so that's not going to do anything, but that's okay. I think we're still in a decent spot because our energy isn't all prized this match. I'm going to put it on Metagross. So now if they go Boss KO on Metagross, instead of wasting energy to retreat, we would need 4 energy to attack. So now we can use another X-Boot to get it to 3, and a manual attach will put it at 4. So I actually really do like that Metal Energy there. But more importantly, punishing Scizors for 80 damage is not bad. That's pretty good. 80 plus, and then if we attach the Max Belt to Metagross, right? We would be doing 250 damage, which I believe, yeah, is definitely, or excuse me, 220 because of the Rigid Band, which is enough to KO. So if I gotta go in with Metagross next turn, I gotta go in with Metagross next turn. This is fine. I could go in with the Scizor EX. Doesn't feel awful. I just think that's a little bit scarier because we're gonna be discarding energy. And again, I've only got the 2 rods, and I really only want to use the rods when I'm gonna recycle back like 2 energy and a Pokemon, which probably will be next turn. It probably will be that Scizor plus 2 energy, and then I think I'll save the last rod for, you know, a triple energy play when they inevitably take down the Metagross. But it's gonna be, they'll do good damage against the Metagross. It's not gonna be hard for them. We'll have 4 energy attached, and they'll be able to get the ball rolling pretty well. because they do 30 energy plus 30 more attached for each energy attached to both active. So I think here we'll promote Genesect. It's got the Rescue Board. It's our free retreat pivot. We kind of love this guy. Fezandipiti is always a good Pokemon, and we just get Rare Candy like that. I mean, I can't say no. I can't say no. I like the Fez too. If they got a boss KO on Fez, they also have a boss KO on Lillie's Clefairy and Lillie's Pearl's Prize, so I don't think it's any detriment to us. If we swing for 200 damage, we will not take the KO because of Rigid Band. So Max Belt definitely has to be placed here. I believe our Vessel was also used, and we only play a 1-of Vessel. So I like the Rod to bring back the single prize Scizor, because they're going to start getting a lot of energy, or a lot of abilities in play. They're already at 3, but they'll start getting a lot more as the game progresses. And, I mean, I don't hate the research here. The research here does not feel bad at all. We could evolve into Scizor. Is there a Pokemon I could thin out? I don't think we go Iono. They got 4 cards in hand, which is less than if I give them Iono. I need the heavier draw to make sure I guarantee a Pokemon. I definitely do not need another Metang. Maybe I didn't need that Scizor. Maybe I could have taken that extra energy. That's fine. I'll take the Metang. I really don't need the Metang because we had a Scizor in hand. I always like having my extra Scizors though. We could rod back the Scyther if I need a bag of Pokemon, so it doesn't feel awful. We're gonna go X-Boot to guarantee 2 energy are attached to Metagross. Actually, no, I could just double X-Boot. I'm doing all this. I'm stressing all this for what, dude? I've got a second Metagross in play. We're fine here. So we'll go research. We'll just dig into a bigger hand. And in a situation like this, I like the manual attach with the Psychic Energy on the Metagross. And then I definitely could flip the script and just hold a big hand. I don't need to use the other Metagross ability, but just in case I didn't draw into energy, I liked having that there. Definitely forgot it was there, and I could use 2 per turn. But hey, don't worry about it. We've got a phenomenal hand going into the next couple of turns. I think for now we just go Metal Stomp for 220 damage. Take the first 2 prize KO. And now we're in a pretty good spot, especially with Boss's Orders in hand. That Boss's Orders could grant me a KO on a Mew EX. And then we could figure out one final way to deal with an Espathra EX a little bit later down the line. Right now, because of all the energy I have, my opponent, just at a minimum to attack, we've got 120. They would have base 60. So it'd be, what, 150 because of resistance. So they're already doing 150 damage onto my Metagross, which isn't necessarily a 2-shot KO either. So you know what? If my Metagross could live 3 hits, I think we're like golden. They need a boss play here. I don't even know who they would take it on. Maybe Genesect. They go Energy Recycler. That could be pretty cool as a 1-of in this deck. I was thinking 2 Rod for some Pokemon recovery, but you know what? Looking at that Energy Recycler, I'm pretty jealous. I feel like, you know what? That is also a valid 1-of. Maybe Cutter Research. Maybe Cutter Research. We have a lot of supporters, so I think that's the easiest thing to cut. My opponent's swinging for 180 damage here, though, because they got 2 energy attached to Espathra and not the 1 for base damage, which is solid. I mean, that's really all they need to do. We have another Rod, but the Rod is not worth it. I like the boss KO on Mew, but then, you know what? It puts their Espathra in a position where they could get more energy onto it because of Zatsu. I think, just based on our setup, we could Metal Stomp for 250. And maybe, again, I don't want to passively just set up energy. I could Arven just try to thin out the hand, or the deck a little bit. Just take out the Ultra Ball is fine here, right? Just want to keep the hand as thin as possible. I don't mind the double Nest Ball. I think that Scizor play with the Rod, I think that could have been an energy. It was a bit of a waste. I was just getting ahead of myself thinking about needing a backup attacker. I really don't think I knew. We got 2 Metagross and a Scizor, and Lillie's Clefairy still in the field. So I am going to Ultra Ball these guys away. I'm going to take out a Beldum because if I get Iono'd, I really don't mind this going to the bottom of the deck. And I like the manual attachment on the Metagross here. And then when this guy gets KO'd, we'll just set up another Metagross in the back end as well. So let's go Metal Stomp for 250. This feels pretty good. We don't need a boss. We'll save our boss. I need to deal with an Espathra at run point. What I'm worried about, if I went boss KO on Mew, right? My opponent promotes Zatsu, Xatu can only accelerate energy. I can't click that Pokemon. Okay, that's it's because they're using it. They can only accelerate Psychic Energy, basic Psychic Energy, to one of their benched Pokemon. So if I KO'd Mew, yes, I did take 2 prize cards, but then, look at that, they had an easy way to attach 2 extra energy onto this Espathra, making it swing way harder, and I really want to limit how much energy they also get on their own Espathra. Right now, a manual attachment will put them at 210 damage. Actually, no, it doesn't matter. They're swinging, they did 180, they're swinging for KO. At 150, we were at our best point. And we had to deal with 1 Espathra anyways. I've got a boss, which is just saved up for the Mew, which feels pretty good. And they're going to go Judge. They're just going to reset my hand. That's fine. They take a KO, I go flip the script. We're good. We're good. And I still have X-Boot. And I get... Rod was really the only thing I needed to out of that hand. And we get it back. They do get the Charm down on the Mew. But they've got 5, 10, 15, 20. I guess that does make it dodge Scizor. Little annoying. Not the end of the world. I think we still can totally work around it, especially when I promote a single prize Pokemon here. Is that the correct play? No, maybe it is Metagross. For now, it's Genesect, because that's our pivot. And then I could rod back. Is there anything worth rodding back? We do get the boss. That's unfortunate, because you know what? Now I can't even boss KO the Mew. But you know what? Boss is a KO on a single prize Pokemon. I only need KO a Espathra and then a Xatu. So I don't mind an Iono here, though. Do we have another boss in the deck? Let me check. Shuffle the deck up. We do have a boss in the deck, and we do have 4 energy left in the deck. So, yeah. I think our play is to go X-Boot and get 2 energy attached to Metagross. I like the chunky Metagross in the active. That just feels best. I think that's always in our best interest here. I think we go Rod for 3 energy, just give ourselves the best chance of getting energy out of the deck. And we take the 2 metal because that is what we need for Scizor, which is going to be our backup attacker. And then I think we do Iono first, then flip the script. We're drawing 6 cards off this. There's a decent chance we're drawing into our energy. And Energy Boss actually is exactly what we get. That definitely works out for us. There is a boss's orders on the deck. On the bottom of the deck. So I do want to flip the script because it's not on the bottom of the deck right now. I want to prepare for my opponent to go in with their own Iono next turn. So I don't need to take this guy, and I definitely don't... Do I mind? I really don't want this guy in play. It's just a Pokemon I can't retreat, and it's pretty hard to set up, so I'm just going to pass there. And I'm going to retreat into Metagross, take a KO. It's going to be pretty hard for my opponent to one-shot this, and I think that's great for us. Actually, I don't really know if they can. They could get 3 more energy down on that Flittle next turn. If they get 3 energy down on the Flittle, they'll have 5 energy attached. 6 if you count the base damage is 30. So that's 180 damage plus 120. They'd be doing 300 minus the 30. They'd be doing 270. Okay. Which is a terrifying amount of damage, but not enough for the one-shot. Even without the resistance, I don't think they would one-shot us, which is perfect. That's exactly what we need, because that means we've got boss KO on Xatu for game. I guess they could go in with Budew, but that doesn't change anything. Again, they have to go in with Espathra this turn. That is just their best bet. And they have to hope that they don't have boss's orders. They didn't play a supporter, so they could still totally go for the Iono. That's why I tried to do a little bit of thinning. There's still 1 boss in our deck. They wouldn't be taking the KO, so we wouldn't get access to flip the script, but I would be a turn ahead of them, which does help a little bit in terms of attacking, because I've taken 2 prize cards a little bit faster. And there's the Iono, so I'm going to draw into 1. They're not going to take a KO, so I just got to hope either my top deck or my... That is huge, actually. This almost guarantees... We don't have game this turn, we have it the turn after. And since my opponent is not taking a one-shot KO, I don't know if there's anything they can do about that. I could get some energy down a little bit early, which is pretty cool. Like, I could use X-Boot now and just prepare for the worst. They've got 5, 10, 15, 20. You know, I feel like we swing hardest with Scizor, so I take the Scizor just in case. Because that's the boss KO on Never mind. Never mind, dude. Top deck plus 2 games in a row. I don't know why I worry about these things. Let's take out the Xatu with the rescue board. I lied, I can't. I literally can't click this guy. That is so annoying. I guess we'll take out the other Xatu. We'll go Metal Stomp for game. This is why we did some thinning, man. Just made the odds the absolute best and in case we got Iono to draw into boss, and it plays out pretty well for us. That's going to wrap it up very nicely. Match number 2, positive record achieved. We'll top into match number 3, see if we can get that perfect record for Steven's Metagross. Welcome to match, that's 2, this is match 3. Good job, Chris. I'm sorry, I was just so amazed with how bad my hand is that I didn't know what to do. We're going second, which is nice. I don't have a playable supporter, and my god, do I have the worst tool possible for my Genesect. Now, I do have an Artazon, which could get me... Oh, no. Nothing great. A Scyther? I mean, we definitely take the Steven's Beldum, right? And just try to set up a Steven's Metagross as soon as possible. We're up against Dragon Ball EX, one of the big dogs in the format. And this is definitely not the hand I wanted to see. Unless we top deck Arven, this feels awful. I have sometimes better lucky than good. You know, sometimes you're just better lucky than good. This is fine. It does help a great bit, but for now, do I go double? I could go double Beldum and just go Scyther later, especially because I don't have a guaranteed out to Scizor, and this does seem like a match where, you know, I'm going to be relying on my Metagrosses a little bit more. We're not going to get the Scyther down. I could actually. I have the Artazon, and they've got enough basic Pokemon. I really don't think it matters. I'm just thinking, like, if they go in with, like, a bunch of Dracloaks next turn, if I could get a way to get Scizor, which I guess we do off the TM Evo, but the double... I'm saying so many words, I feel like I'm not explaining my thought process enough. If I go Scizor, chances are they get a couple Dracloaks down, Scizor could take a KO. If I go double Metang, I feel a little more comfortable at going into double Metagross next turn. I think the smartest play might be to take one Metang, one Scizor, and then work from there. And again, they're gonna have a bunch of Dracloaks. It's the early game. This is the time for the single prize Scizor in this match, just because of the access to early game abilities in this deck that they could potentially turn off in the late game. So I don't want to bank on the single prize Scizor for the early game, for the late game. I want to bank on the Scizor EX if needed, because that guy could get up to 290, which, I mean, isn't awesome, but it's not great. And when we don't have a guaranteed out to get Lillie's Clefairy, you know what? Like, this is fine. Lillie's Clefairy is going to be the man of this match, though. Mew EX would again, be absolutely amazing, but, you know, we're not really in a situation where I've got those guaranteed. I feel like I had to go for the play I did off the Arven, and my opponent Ultra Balls away. Turo and Boss. Yeah, we can't ask for anything more, right? They got the Dreepy. They could retreat into Badu and just put them under item lock, but no, why would they do that when they could research away Dragon Ball EX? That also hurts, but you know what? They're going to discard everything in their hand regardless, so it doesn't really matter. They're going to hope to get, they're going to get some more Dracloaks down, which is good. That means Scyther is KOing pretty much anything they're going to throw in play, single prize-wise, which is fine enough. And buys us a little bit of time to hopefully get our own momentum going. You know, maybe they take a KO, we get access to Fezandipiti, draw 3 cards, and I feel like once we draw 3 cards, we've got so many supporters in the deck. I should hopefully be able to draw into something that just gets me going a little bit more, and really all that something is a Pokemon search. When I have Metagross in play, and my energy's not affected, like against Espathra, it's so easy for me to set up whatever Pokemon I want, when I want. So really, a supporter Pokemon search, and we should be fine for the rest of the game. I'm pretty confident this deck can do everything else it needs to. Another Artazon is tempting. The Badu's not going to do anything. The Ichipon is going to do 0 damage, and it's just some item lock, and I don't really need the Pokemon search this turn. I need it when they KO something. We have the Vessel. There's the Pokemon search we needed. Actually, you know what? No, I don't even need to play Vessel, because, I've got Metagross for energy acceleration. I could go Artazon. But for what? Like, nothing feels amazing. For now, let me just X-Boot. Let me take a Metal and a Psychic Energy. We're going to throw the Psychic Energy on the Metagross, the Metal Energy on the Scizor, and then we're just going to retreat into Scizor. I really am not in the mood to Max Belt a Genesect, so I'm just going to Punishing Scissors for KO and take it from there. We'll take our 1 prize card. My opponent's Budew is gone, and we get a Metal Energy out of the prizes, which is pretty good because I don't remember how many Metal Energy I saw on the deck, but it definitely was not 5, so just getting another one out there makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. Oh, excuse me. It's pretty early in the morning when I'm recording, so I apologize. I guess I'm getting a little tired. They played Neo Upper as the ace spec. Okay, so now Genesect is just completely useless. That's okay. Not the end of the world. If I need a Vessel away something... Genesect's already in play. It doesn't matter. That's fine. That's okay. Unfortunate. Not the end of the world. They're not going to item lock us next turn, though, because they played the Fezandipiti, which means they're going to KO my active... No. They're going to put some damage on the Metagross. That's perfectly fine. Because I feel like... No, wait, no, now they're not going to take a KO, so my Nest Ball is not going to get me Fez. Oh, no. All right. How do I work around this one? I mean, I got X-Boot. X-Boot swing, 200 damage, feels great. 250, not necessary. I could put the Max Belt on the other Metagross, because then that guy could boss KO Fez, which is pretty sweet. I'm realistically not going to need it on Lillie's Clefairy. I really don't want to retreat into Lillie's Clefairy here. I feel like I just work on killing this Dragapult manually, like without the Clefairy. And then I use Clefairy on the next dragon that's in the active spot after I've successfully dealt with this one. And the Max Belt could be put on Metagross, which is a boss KO and Fezandipiti, and that's how we're going to take the last 5 prize cards, I think. 36 cards in deck, 3 Arven, 3 Research, 3 Iono, all of those I feel like are pretty great here. They're going to move some damage around with Phantom Dive. Even with just 1 Monkey Dory, they're not going to heal enough to prevent a 2-shot, which is pretty good for us. Actually, you know what? The single prize Scizor is going to town against their deck. And if they KO Beldum, they KO Beldum next turn. That's fine. I'll Artazon for another one right here. It's not the end of the world. And we get a Scizor. That actually is not bad. Again, I think just because Fez is... The way Fez works is we just need to take a KO. They need to take a KO during their turn. It doesn't matter if it's from damage. So I don't really care if they KO Beldum here. Now what they could do is put a damage counter onto Beldum with Monkey Dory, and then put 6 more on this Beldum here. I think that's fine. I just have to bank on this Nest Ball for Fez the following turn, being the biggest play known to man. I could take out a Lillie's Clefairy here, but I know I'm going to need some energy acceleration with this Beldum, so I am going to rock with this guy. I'll attach the energy. We don't need to attach it to the active. Take a Metal and a Psychic. Throw those here. I'll attach the Metal Energy here. No, that doesn't feel great either. I've got Psychic Energy left on the deck. If I go X-Boot for just 1 energy, that's not going to fully set up a Clefairy, but I don't think I've got the option to worry about that right now. I think I kind of just have to do the play I got going on right now. They could potentially, if they Monkey Dory the damage onto this Beldum, they could put damage onto this Beldum. They could take 3 prize cards next turn, which is actually insane. And I think if that's what they do, so be it. Like, there's not much I can do about it. That's definitely the best play for my opponent. They go Monkey Dory. They put 3 damage from their active onto this Beldum here. They then Phantom Dive for KO on my active while putting, what, 1 damage counter here, and then the remaining, I guess, here is fine. And that's a 3 prize card turn and taking out all of the Metagross in my deck out in one fell swoop. I just have to hope that they don't see that line. They go for the Monkey Dory KO on the damaged Beldum and then start loading damage counters up on this guy. But you know what? It's, again, the starting hand I had. I'm just happy I top decked the Arven and I'm able to play the game that feels pretty cool for right now. I guess the Max Belt on Genesect would have helped a ton, huh? Who would have guessed? Max Belt Genesect would have stopped that Neo Upper. And potentially saved me the game, but you know what? We're already here. I really did not feel like wasting the Max Belt because that most definitely feels like a waste. And if I got to do this whole thing with some Scizors, I mean, well, there's enough abilities down in play for me to pull that off while I try to rod back a Beldum or 2. They're going to move some damage around. Wait. They didn't Monkey Dory. Never mind. This is fun. I was totally expecting to go down 3 prize cards here. Oh, boy. I mean, 4 prize cards. Excuse me. 4 prize cards. They took 3 prize cards. I was expecting to lose 4. They had a 4 prize turn. Did they miss it? Yes. Am I complaining? Absolutely not. They got 3 prize cards left. Got to be very careful with how I do this. I think we can figure it out, though. Research helps a little bit. I do still have 1 Metagross in the deck. I like the Nest Ball for Fez. And I feel like I have to go Fez and hope I get Iono. Because Iono's infinitely better for us than Research here. They've got a 17 card hand and 3 recon directives. I have to go chase down the Iono. Thank gosh we hit it. Alright, this works, this works. I can rod back some energy here. And I definitely need to. I need to get the Metal Energy. And I have to hope that I get Rare Candy Metagross off the Iono. So we take the, what, 2 Metal, 1 Psychic? No. We need another Beldum. Possibly. We might need another Beldum. I'm going to take the Beldum. And then I don't need to max belt my active. I don't need to Vessel away anything. We just... I could Artazon for another Scizor. Or Scyther, excuse me. Doesn't feel bad. Honestly, feels fine. Just thins 1 card out of the deck. I still got this spot for Clefairy. And then we go Iono here. And put my opponent's 17 card hand on the bottom of their deck. They'll draw 3 cards, and I do not get the Rare Candy Metagross play that I was hoping for. A little annoying. I'm going to take a KO. They're going to draw minimum 7 cards, 1 off top deck, 3 off flip, and then 3 more off Recon Directive, but they're also going to look at 3 more cards past that. So there's a good chance that they could find a boss's order. As well to take out Lillie's Clefairy if I take it right now. So I think I'm just going to take the Beldum. As long as Rare Candy is in the deck. I'm sorry, my rabbit is like headbutting me. What do you want, Ash? You're doing too much. I'm going to also smack the Psychic Energy here. And then we're going to go Punishing Scissors for 260 damage. You know what? Max Belt right now is actually 10 damage short of a KO on Dragapult. There's the rabbit. She's like stomping at me because I didn't pet her. She's going crazy. I'm sorry, man. I'm recording. My fault. We get Rod Mew out of the prize cards. That's huge. Actually, that's big. That's really, really big. That helps a ton. Okay. My opponent, they cannot use Monkey Dory this turn. Oh my god, they couldn't Monkey Dory last turn because they didn't get a Dark Energy. Whew. Oh, man. Could they take a 3 prize turn this turn? I'm not sure. And I need to limit how much damage is on the field so they can never Monkey Dory. So that means I really do have to go Lillie's Clefairy next turn. I don't think we have another way around this. They'll be able to take out Lillie's Clefairy. They'll be taking 2 prize cards though, so you know what, when they KO Lillie's Clefairy, we're still in an awful spot. I think I have to save the Lillie's Clefairy play then, and go for a boss KO on the Fezandipiti this turn. Like Arven for... Somehow Fez into Rare Candy Metagross. Oh my god. Wait, no. That's bad. And they boss. Ah, it's game. Well, that's not ideal. That was a good Hawlucha play. That was unfortunate. What I was gonna say, if they did not get the Hawlucha play, we need to pull off a KO on the Fez this turn, and then go Lillie's Clefairy the final turn of the game. Okay, I'm sorry, stop headbutting me there. There's your pet. I need like 2 minutes. It didn't feel great. I think, honestly, the matchup is not awful if we didn't have the world's worst start. Definitely would have been better if we could go Clefairy in the early game. Clefairy Scizor is really all we needed. We just did not have the means to get all of that set up and ready to rumble. That matchup hurt. That last match definitely took my confidence a step down. I still think the deck is solid, man. I still think as far as the different Metagross variants I've played, this one felt pretty great. So I would definitely give it a play. It was a ton of fun. And yeah, can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Again, go check out the Draw Pass TCG channel on YouTube and the Battle VIP podcast over on YouTube and Spotify. And yeah, with that being said, stay epic. Peace.